A big push then from the Punjab batters towards the end. They were keeping the platform, and then the construction workers jumped on and completed the skyscraper to get them to 189 at the completion of their 20 overs. 5 wickets is what they lost. Johnny Bairstow gave them that early platform, 56 of 40. Bit of a push from the captain, good from Rajapaksa. And then the star of the show towards the end was not Liam Livingstone, but was Jitesh Sharma with 38 of 18 deliveries. Yuzvendra Chahal too was outstanding, 3 for 28 in his 4 overs, could have had 4. Joined by Lisa Sthalekar, Shaun Pollock, to look at the first half of the first of 2 games that we bring to you on this Saturday. Shaun, this was the kind of platform they would have looked at. Didn't look like the belter of a wicket. So I think 189 in the context of that, they'll feel good about.
Yeah, I think they'll be very happy with it. I thought it was definitely a 177 wicket. And they've let themselves down a little bit. But Punjab will be happy. As Johnny Bairstow said, I don't think it's the nature of the surface. I think it's probably a little bit yielding. But the difficulty is definitely the shorter boundaries. And that sometimes throws a curveball to the bowlers and the captains about their mindset and what they should or shouldn't do, because just a normal length delivery can just disappear if you target in that short boundary. So 189, I think they'll be very, very happy with that. And I think the spinners in particular, Chahar and maybe a bit of Livingstone, will be pretty important in the run chase.
And I think one of the things that will please Punjab will be that throughout maybe the middle part of the first half, it was all about how many will Livingstone get? Can Shikhar and Mayank give us a good start? Well, none of these 3 really played as big a part. It was Johnny Bairstow pushed to the top and Jitesh Sharma giving them the finishing kick.
Yeah, and everyone was kind of asking after Bairstow went up last game, is that the right move for him? Is it the right move for Mayank Agarwal as well to kind of slide down? And we spoke about it in the pre-show of the numbers that Bairstow gets when he opens the batting in IPL. And glad to see that it only took him another extra game just to show everyone why he's the best. But yeah, it wasn't your usual suspects with Punjab. And that's probably a good thing for them, that they're not relying on just a couple of people like probably Rajasthan are with Buttler.
Well, Liam Livingstone may not have got the 117-meter 6, but he still took center stage. Somehow he found a way to do that. He walked out there and there was a bit of drama because he told the opposition almost where he was going to stand. Shaun, Prasidh Krishna goes to the umpire at the start of the over. If he's exposing all his 3 stumps, what will you give me if I bowl it just wide outside off? Now, that's a different kind of drama we haven't seen.
Yeah, I suppose you do want a little bit of clarity. And the problem for the bowlers is there's different opinions from different umpires. So maybe it's not the worst thing just to stop the game quickly and say, okay, if he's in that position, where am I allowed to go? Where will you allow me to get through? And I think it worked for him. That first delivery was almost on the wide line. But because Livingstone was outside the off stump, he got away and it was a dot delivery.
Do you agree with that, Shaun? Was it a dot delivery? Should it have been a wide?
Yeah, I've got no problem with that first one. I mean, he's so far outside the off stump that, as long as it's inside that white line. I'm saying it's almost getting to a stage now where there's going to become, much like there is in baseball, where there's going to be a plate. And you've got to, at some stage on the delivery, we've actually discussed it at RCC meetings, that you're probably going to get to a stage where there's a plate. And if the ball goes over the plate at any stage, like it can beat the leg stump but go over the plate, then it's just counted as a legal delivery, because it's becoming too much of a grey area, and it's not the best product for me in total honesty. When we've got people arguing and really focusing on wides and trying to just squeak it inside there, it's not really the competitive bat versus ball contest that I'm always enjoyed in my cricketing career.
Yeah, and to keep the baseball analogy alive, Lisa, I mean, for those who don't follow the game, the pitchers really don't have much of a role to play other than just flinging it, and the batter just goes hard at it. So it's a very different kind of a relationship. But as Shaun said, it could just be getting there if you have home run hitters like Liam Livingstone.
Yeah, it's all about kind of trying to decide what is your best delivery, where to pitch it. I feel like Prasidh Krishna actually went a little bit too late to the stumps. I mean, Livingstone was exposing him. And we were talking just before before we came on air, and Polly was saying, well, if you go for 4, then that's actually a win almost at the back end, isn't it? Then being hit for 6, and I tend to agree with him on that response. So sometimes if a batter wants to be too cheeky, just aim it at the stumps, because if they miss and you get the length right, that's the thing. It's the length. If you can get it right, then it doesn't matter where they're standing. It's always going to be hard to dispatch the ball.
Well, Prasidh Krishna did win that battle, Shaun. And if you were obviously standing at mid-off where Josh Buttler was, I think Ashwin came to him once. Is that what you would have told him? Or if you had the ball in your own hand and you saw this going on 22 yards away?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's worth the risk. In fact, once he had moved and stood, he took about a meter outside the off stump to start the over, I would have just left him there. I mean, there's no way he's going to be able to get back and be able to clip on off the leg stump. And even if he gets something on, it's only going to go for a 4. And he'll look like a real Charlie if his leg stump gets knocked out the ground. So I think it's almost, what do we call it, the double bluff. You go for some kind of delivery. And that's why even when you've got guys walking down the wicket at you, the hardest delivery to hit is once a full delivery on your heels. You can't get underneath that, and you're always just trying to get something on it. So I think these bowlers are going to start backing themselves to hit that leg stump behind batters' legs. I really believe that, if you miss it and it misses the leg stump by too much, it's a wide. So you bowl it again. But if you get it right, well, it's the bonus of the wicket.
I can tell you that little ego battle, if you like, that was won by Prasidh Krishna, was the only wicket that fell to pace in the entire innings. I wonder if that's a story for the bowlers going forward, Lisa. If we have a look at the bowling figures, 4 for 60 by my calculations, 3 for 28, and Ashwin 1 for 32. Yep, 4 for 60 for spinners, and 1 for about $500,000 for the pace bowlers. That's what it was.
Yeah. The spinners bowled well, didn't they? Just clever. They've got the deception. They've got the variation as well. And Chahal picking up 2 wickets in an over makes a big dent in Punjab and what they were trying to do. I mean, you look at the 10 over mark, 88 for 1. Then the next 5, they actually only scored about 30 odd runs and lost 3 wickets, I think. So that really could probably stop them getting that 200 mark. So Rajasthan were able to kind of fight back in that phase. But spinners did well, which does give an indication that we're going to see probably a little bit more spin, and it's going to play an important role.
2 questions, Shaun. At Cricbuzz Combox, we were discussing the possibility of maybe a Yashasvi Jaiswal, Riyan Parag bowling the odd over, especially when you see spinners are doing well. And question number 2, is there a case for maybe them having a genuine 6th bowling option as an all-rounder, say?
Yeah, there is a case. I mean, you always like to have that luxury. I think the decision also of Jaswal, when we're discussing things before the game, we don't really know the size of the boundaries or anything like that. But the extra left-handed option into the mix, so that you can try and have a left-handed, right-handed combination for the bulk of the innings, might have influenced their decision as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult run chase. I would think it would be reliant on what they can do at the top of the order. Padikkal, I think, would need to come good and give some support. Buttler would have to continue on his merry way. And if they do lay a foundation there, it's not an easy ground to defend on. We saw that with that Janssen over to Rashid Khan. Anything can kind of happen in those last 6 deliveries. So if they take it deep with the short boundary as it is, and the scrambled minds of the bowlers, if they're trying to bowl wides and stay away from the long boundary, you never know.
Yeah, we've seen Buttler sort of going hard early on, particularly because they've been batting first so often this season, Lisa. So Butler's needing to go hard without necessarily having a measure of that day's surface. Today, he's had 20 overs in the field, good time in the field, 1 brilliant catch. So he's seen exactly what's happened out there from the 20 overs. How much will that influence his approach at the start?
I think it won't change too much, because, yes, you can pick up what you can when you're out in the field, but as soon as you get out there in the middle yourself, you get a feel for how the ball is coming onto the bat, what the pace of the pitch is like, how much it's turning, how much it's moving, the deviation. So I think, and he's found a winning formula, hasn't he? So, and cricketers tend to be quite habitual in what they do, so I can't see him changing his approach too much. The only issue that he'll have is he'll have a bit more scoreboard pressure Whereas before, when he's batting first, he can play with that freedom and then slowly go through the gears. Here, he's got a required run rate that keeps getting flashed up on the screen. So that may dictate how quickly he has to go through those gears.
Does he also look at the opposition bowling? Does it instill a bit of fear, Shaun Pollock, if you're having a look at this lineup to try and defend 189? Of course, there's a class of one certain KG Rabada. How much are you relying on him? Arshdeep's been excellent, but how much is on the shoulders of KG?
Yeah, there is. I mean, he's a wicket taker, and I think that's what they'll be looking for. They'll be saying that they'll be really chuffed if Rabada can pick up the wicket of Buttler. It's almost like job done. Arshdeep's going to get the ball to swing. I think Chahar, and I mentioned Livingstone and whoever maybe else can roll their fingers across it. I think they could be quite valuable. Sandeep Sharma, I think that could be the guy they try and target, particularly if he comes from the wrong end, on the angle. Rishi Dhawan, we saw what he can do, but I don't know. It looks like a good team on paper. I just sometimes feel that there's a relative inexperience there that put under pressure, they might be found wanting.
Yeah, a little bit skewed towards the batsmen. The superstars are all in the batting department. Of course, there's the class of Kagiso Rabada. But Lisa, an interesting one. We were predicting in our pre-show that, if you've got Jaiswal back into the same team, he stays at number 3 because Padikkal owns that opening position. Wrong again. It is Yashasvi Jaiswal who's been told, go ahead, do your stuff at the top.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because here on Cricbuzz Live, we're all calling for that Padikkal to open because that's, where we've seen him. We've seen him flourish for Bangalore last year. Maybe they're trying to make him feel comfortable, Yashasvi, obviously the younger one of the two, get him into a position that he feels that he's experienced before, and hopefully, he just comes off. And I don't think they're expecting anything big from him. I think it's almost like a 20-25 off, 18, 20 deliveries. I think they'd be happy with that.
Yeah, Sandeep Sharma's bowling the opening over, so they've probably want to go early with someone they might look to target. That's probably the counter movement. One final thought, Shaun. Could it also be that DDP at the top of the order for Bangalore was delivering big innings? 100 almost. Not almost, he did get 100. Here he hasn't quite done that. So probably they've told him, listen, slight change of role for you. Get down at number 3. This is what he's been doing. And let Jaiswal go hard at the top.
Yeah, I thought after the Kolkata and Delhi game, I thought he had sort of set things up for the rest of the tournament. But as you can see, it's been a lean run since then. I just think now that they've made this decision, they mustn't mess around again. You don't take Jaiswal out and then put Padikkal back at the top of the order. You need to keep it going like this for me for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, well, that's where things stand. Onus on the batsman in pink, Jos Buttler at the non-strikers end. Yashasvi Jaiswal, once again, just to remind you, is opening up. It's Yashasvi versus Sandeep Sharma. He's already helped himself to a boundary to start with, and you can add a maximum 6 to that as well. So good start for Rajasthan. We'll assess their chase in the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. For now, from Shaun, Lisa and myself, that's all we have on Cricbuzz Live.